This conference will now be recorded.
Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, and I would like to call today's City Council meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, can you take roll, please?
Councilmember Fox?
Present.
Councilmember Kasberg?
Here.
Councilmember Boyle?
Present.
Councilmember Strobehn?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cerveny?
Present,
Mayor Thornton?
absent, excused. Citizens' public comment, and clerk, can you please call up any public comments from the audience to begin?
Al, do you want to come up?
Hi, my name's Al Villa, 152 West 15th Street.
We almost got it memorized.
Well, that's good.
I like it.
I was really glad when my children were able to do that.
Do you give out candy on Halloween?
Well, as a matter of fact, no. But then it was Route 2, Box 4B.
Yeah.
And then it was 107 Northwest 343rd Street. But aside from that, last month, at the very end of the meeting, you guys all talked about waste management and renewing the contract and making it mandatory that everybody signs up for getting your garbage and recycling. Well, I'm not signed up now. I recycle. I take care of my own garbage. It's not piling up or anything. And so what you're telling me, you're going to force me to pay Waste Management, who makes all kinds of money, I'm sure, to take away something I don't want and don't need. And I don't know how many other people are in the same boat, but hopefully you all did your due diligence. You're just picking on me. I'm the only one in the city. No, I don't think so. But just bear in mind, that doesn't seem like anything that it surprised me. It must have all started during the pandemic when we didn't have the meetings. That's my excuse for not being on the ball about this and being belatedly, I did jump Mr. Strobehn at the end of the meeting, because he was just there nodding his head what a good idea it was. And I was there nodding my head and it was a terrible idea. So anyway, just bear in mind, think about that when it comes up for discussion again or next meeting, I will bring it up again. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, Al.
Peter?
Peter Rosenkrantz, 1203 East Pioneer Loop, also superintendent of the Center School District. And I just want to remind folks, ballots are sent out this Friday and are due back by August 2nd. We have a variety of opportunities for folks to learn information, whether it's farmers market, the concerts in the park. We're actually putting together a State of the District address that'll happen next week, hoping the Sternwheeler Amphitheater to be able to give information and answer questions that folks have, but very available to answer questions regarding the school levy and just like to encourage folks to vote. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have a lady
Okay.
here who wants to make a comment. Kimberly, you can come on up.
Welcome.
So it actually did start with the pandemic. And I support you, sir. We should have rights, not be told what to do, but that's going to be the way it is. So,
Can you give us your name and your
yes,
address?
Kimberly Elbin,
Okay, thank you.
30-year resident of West Center. So I've actually been speaking at the Vancouver City Council for about 9 months now. I was born there, and I found out that they're United Nations members of the ICLEI, stands for the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives. I'm hoping that you folks have read my emails when I informed you of this, and it's very serious. These people here, most of them, do not understand what's really going on. So this is hate to say it, but when you're part of that ICLEI, you have then joined and followed their agendas of a one world order and to depopulate. It's a fact. Vancouver's been 15 years at doing this. So when I found that out, I instantly came on board for sure. So I'm going to ask this council if the city of La Center, Washington, USA, are a corporation. I also want to know if you're members or any affiliation to the ICLEI or any affiliation to anything. That brings me to the point of the AWC meeting that was held. Kind of too busy to keep up with it, but I do want to hear about what happened there, because the AWC, which is the Association of Washington Cities, and one of the council members, if not all, or I don't know how many, but went to Vancouver and joined the tyrannical government there, where I was born, and had a meeting. And I want to say that those very people, that entity, actually follow the United Nations takeover. You can call it what you want. You can take a look. I don't care who you vote for or what. But if you don't think that somebody is trying to take down America and her people, you'd be dead wrong. In fact, I'd have to say that if you took the boost shots or anything like that, I'm praying for you. So this is pure and simple. I'm sorry to be the messenger, but that's what's going on. Plenty of documentation I've been sending. I don't know if people will even look up, the community, what we're doing here at all. But my job is to wake up Clark County and all the citizens. They can make their own choice. I'm for people's rights. I don't care where you came from, unless you're illegal, because I do stand for our sovereign nation, which was destroyed the first day Biden took office. Okay, so that's what this is about. It isn't political anymore. It's good against evil.
Kimberly, it's been 3 minutes.
Thank you. And by the way, Vancouver took our rights away, of our First Amendment rights.
Thank you. Any others?
Just online.
Okay. Are there any public comments from those that are calling in? Please press *6 to unmute yourselves to speak. All right. None seeing there. Clerk, are there any public comments to be read?
I do have one, yes.
Thank you.
Dennis Hill, 1316 West Alder Place. Greetings, Mayor, City Council, and La Center citizens. I am writing this letter to urge the city and its citizens to support a vote yes on the La Center School District Proposition number 5. Your yes vote will continue to fund current educational programs and operations. This is a renewal of an existing levy. This is not a new tax. A yes vote continues funding that will maintain and provide for critical educational programs in our La Center schools. I encourage you to do this so that we can continue to teach and train our young people to become the future leaders of our country. And if we are fortunate, maybe leaders right here in our own community. Remember to vote yes on Prop number 5. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to the consent agenda. If there are no requests for any items to be removed, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Opposed? Abstentions? Pretty sure I saw all yeses, so motion carried. We have no presentations and proclamations this evening that you have to endure us reading through the whereases. We do have council staff reports and announcements, and we'll begin with mayor's report. We have quite a few activities going on. The museum's going to be open Saturday, so if you have family or friends coming to town, please take them by. Concerts in the Park series continues this Sunday, July 17th, beginning at 4 p.m., and Harvest Gold will be performing. Gold Dust will be performing next Saturday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. We have another ribbon cutting ceremony that will be held Saturday, July 16th at 2 p.m. for Blissed Wellness. It is located at 419 East Cedar Avenue, Suite C203. Tuesday, August 2nd, from 4 to 7, we will be having the National Night Out event. This is a national campaign encouraging police and community partnerships. This will be at the community center and in the parking lot, so I encourage everyone to come and pass the word. Pardon?
August 2nd.
August 2nd, from 4 to 7. You bet. So, do we have an attorney's report this evening?
I don't have anything for you. I'm just kind of filling in for.
All right. Well, we welcome you. Thanks for being here. Now we are at council comments, and Councilmember Fox, do you have?
Yeah, good evening. I just want to say a few things. Congratulations to the Rockery, who is what is now an open business in La Center. And I've already seen really great reviews online about the drivers and the safety. And so excited for that. And I'm super sorry I missed it, but I was in work and I could not leave, but I was there in spirit. So I'm super excited about that. We have our R-Day celebration for July 29th through the 30th. Lots of amazing community opportunities there. Also just a little bit of, notice to citizens just to remember to leave early because of the construction that we have going on with PUD. So, make sure to give yourself plenty of time to get to work and so forth, because that's going to be there for a little bit. So be patient and be kind. So, and we're excited for that expansion as we need it. So thank you. And thanks for everybody who's coming. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks. Councilmember Kasberg.
No, I don't have anything new tonight. I agree with everything that Councilmember Fox said, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
Yeah, I just got one thing. So I've attended the last two meetings for the C-Tran Composition Review Board, and there's a new RCW out there that wants to redistribute representation amongst the cities that are involved with C-Tran right now, and it's based on population. So right now they're trying to figure out how to do that. As it stands right now, it says that it needs to change, which would ultimately give up the votes that Ridgefield, the Center, and Yakult share, and also along with Camas or Washougal. And so we'd kind of be combined in with all of that. C-Tran is on board with keeping things the same. So I think we're working on setting up some sort of a presentation from C-Tran to kind of go over what needs to happen there and what that looks like, and come together as a council and, take direction from there. So that's about all I've been involved with recently. And I guess one other thing, just hearing bits about there is some confusion about what's going down out at down by the bridge with vendors and whatnot. Construction is about to get started, and so I think that the city has asked vendors to depart there for this time. And so just to clear that up, I think right now while that construction is going on, there won't be any vendors allowed.
Thanks for bringing that up and sharing, and thanks for attending the C-Tran meetings as well.
Yeah.
Councilmember Strobehn.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you. Shocking, right?
Yeah. And as far as Councilmember Cerveny, I am just delighted with the Rockery and the open house event, the number of individuals that were there and the community support that was displayed. Great business, great people, and I'm sure you are thrilled to have them there. But it was a delightful event. I enjoyed it, so I appreciate the invitation. Each of the ribbon cuttings that we've had for the local businesses have been very well presented, and it's really great to see the creativity and the excitement that each business has for coming to the community. So that's a positive thing, and that's certainly what we want to hold on to.
I had one more thing. I just wanted to say back to what Al had, his comments up there. I appreciate you bringing that up, and I think that's something that should be considered before we do come up with a decision. So thank you for that.
Okay, thanks. Staff reports. We'll begin with community development, and Mr. Brian Cast will present.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, Council. A few updates here for the community development report. Start at the top and work our way down here. So Lockwood Creek subdivision, we had a hearing on that a few months ago. The final order and decision was issued on that early in June. That's number one on your map. Minute Management, the hotel and convenience store and other projects out there at the junction. We received a final plat application for that to divide the lot into 4 lots. That was found complete earlier this week, and so we're working with the applicant on review of that at this time. La Center High School Green Shed is moving forward. We received a site plan application on the 21st of last month, and that was deemed complete and is currently under review. Let's see here. We have the 9th Avenue sewer line. We are doing a SEPA review on that and engineering review as well. That will connect from the Kays subdivision across under the Pacific Highway to allow future sewer for one of the lots on the north side of the road there. Aces View subdivision, we received a submittal for that on the 1st of last month. They were missing a couple items, so we deemed that an incomplete application, provided some feedback back to them and are waiting for resubmittal. And finally, the La Center Road Clark Public Utilities flow station is complete and is currently under review. And that was basically a building that'll go over the utility flow station piping that you can see out there that they're tying into with the construction work that was mentioned earlier. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
What did you say was going on with item number 1, or what have you?
So that item number 1 is the Lockwood Creek subdivision. We had a land use hearing on that back on the 16th of May. And then working with the hearings examiner completed the final decision that was issued at the very beginning of June. Okay. So we are waiting for a, next steps on that would be engineering review, and then they can move into construction.
Cool. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And segue into the Public Works staff report.
Jump right into that. So on the parks side, we have opened up the splash pad. It is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. now every day through the summer, and it's been getting some good use. I know our kids were excited to go get in there and splash around. We also have completed irrigation startups for all of our parks, which is a fairly involved process of cleaning all the sprinkler heads out. So they are up and running now. On the stormwater side, now that it's finally drying out, we are able to get in and start mowing some of those green spaces that we typically like to mow a lot earlier in the season than we have been this year, but we're making some good progress on that. We're also on the admin side working on getting a temporary worker on. There was a little bit of a hiccup there that I won't go into the details of, but we have a worker starting Friday, I think. So we're excited about that. On the wastewater side, there's been some maintenance work done there, pumps, UV lights, and some discharge piping. We also are getting ready to kick off the membrane replacement project, which is a pretty involved process that will involve taking about half the plant offline and replacing the membranes that treat the stormwater, or the sewage. That's scheduled to start on Monday, next Monday. So that'll be a big project. We also were alerted of a sewer spill yesterday late in the day. We worked with our partners over at Clark Regional Wastewater District. They brought out their nice shiny new Vector truck and helped us clear the blockage and do some cleanup. Cleanup work there was ongoing today, and then we're also working with Department of Ecology to go through the reporting requirements. Basically what had happened was there was a blockage in a sewer line. Luckily it didn't back up sewage into anyone's homes, but it did fill up a manhole and was sort of slowly seeping out. We're estimating maybe, I don't know, 30 to 50 gallons or so total. It had been going on for several weeks before it was reported to us, unfortunately. But once we were alerted, we jumped right on it and got it cleaned up. So I can pause there and see if there's any questions on that in particular.
What's the follow-up on that with the people in charge of that?
So it's the city's sewer system.
Right, but the employees, the people who are in charge of reporting and communicating.
Well, a lot of times when you have a backup like this, the reports generally come from a citizen. A lot of times what will happen is there'll be a backup and people can't flush their toilet properly. This one was a little bit of an unusual one where that didn't happen, which is lucky because that can cause damage sometimes. So really in the grand scheme of things, this is a fairly minor spill. We're doing some cleanup and some, to make sure that there's no bacteria or anything in the area, and then, go through the process to record that to the necessary state authorities.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Did any of this leak in the water or anything like that?
So not that we think. It was a pretty slow leak. The lid was still on the manhole, and we had one of these that's like a plastic dish to prevent rainwater from entering the sewer system, and that kind of helped seal the sewage in. So it really wasn't coming out any more than a few drops, sort of on an ongoing basis. So it actually took quite a bit of investigation to figure out what was going on and find the source. So it wasn't, the volume was, somewhat large, but it was over a several week or month period. We think that it was potentially going on. It was probably maybe leaking a gallon a day for, a couple weeks or a month or something like that is what we suspect.
So you're saying it didn't make it down to the water?
We don't
believe so. Don't have to test the soil and stuff down there?
No, we are doing testing sort of along the path that it would have taken.
Okay.
And we'll be,
I just want to make sure
if
people
they
are.
reveal anything, then we'll do some additional.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Sure. Moving on to building, we have taken and processed 52 building permits this year, including 7 single-family residents. We're seeing some building activity in our newer subdivisions. Highland Terrace has foundations poured and are waiting for vertical construction. They need a fire access road that cuts through phase 2 to be completed before they can start combustible construction. So that will be starting very shortly here. Heritage Country Estates is getting close to wrapping up. Hayes Place has about 10 homes under construction. So happy to see some building activity continuing there. And then on the engineering side, as was mentioned earlier, the La Center Road project is underway as of Monday of this week. First order of business is the water line that Clark Public Utilities is putting in under their schedule of work. We anticipate that'll be about 3 weeks of water line work. And then the contractor has proposed to do a sort of like a 24-hour and overnight paving process to help expedite that work and get the road back open as quickly as possible. So we're anticipating that'll be sometime in early August that the paving work will be completed. The initial schedule that the contractor proposed would have taken a few more months beyond that. So the inconvenience, I guess, of some night work will pay off in a couple months shorter construction out there, which will be nice, and have us have the road back fully open and operational before school starts, which will be great.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, with the replacement of that water line, is there going to be any expected interruptions to service with the water?
There will be a few short hour or so service interruptions for the people that live right in the vicinity of the project potentially. And as those become imminent, the contractor and Clark Public Utilities will work and notify people at least a day or more in advance of the shutdowns.
Okay, thank you.
If, I have something related to that.
Okay, go ahead.
That's an additional water line that's being put in, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
So the existing line that feeds the majority of the town will stay intact?
Yep, and then the new line basically is a parallel line that's larger, so will be a significant increase in capacity for water service for the downtown area here.
Very good.
Will that one also taste like chlorine? Because if it doesn't, please
Probably-
send that one to my house, because, you know, I'm tired of buying my
Probably will
water.
taste the
I
same,
pay for water, I can't even
unfortunately.
drink it. I don't know what they do to it. I know it's PUD, I know it's not you. but
I'll tell them to dial it down a little bit. if they
It
can.
is, it's bad, it's bad. I love going to my parents that have a well. Like, I love going home. It's like, I just want to drink water when I get there. I seriously do. It's
No,
great.
I share that sentiment.
Yeah, but my other question was, how many, with the apartments total, how many families is that? How many, like, small family, or how many units, I guess, or families does that fit? How many?
For the apartment complex?
Yeah, how many units are there, I guess, is what I'm asking.
It's on the order, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's 100.
Or roughly.
40 something. Mhm.
Yeah, roughly how many units are there?
I think they're approved to do 145 to
Yeah.
150 units.
Total? Out of both buildings? Or, right, so
There's-
two
I think
buildings?
there's 5 or 6 buildings.
Oh, sorry, I thought it's, oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, that is so small. But
Yeah, sorry about that.
I've been, I mean, I've driven past it. I thought there was more, but I was like, I don't. I see. Okay, about 150?
140, 150, somewhere in that range.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Staffer is also working on the community center kitchen remodel and parking lot. We have some preliminary designs that have come back for the kitchen remodel, and we're also working through archaeological testing for the parking lot so that we can complete the repaving of that. We also have received and selected a consultant for the shared use path along Pacific Highway. Wallace Engineering out of Vancouver was selected to lead that project. We also have a request for proposals out currently to update the city's park rec and open space plan. Those proposals are due at the end of the month here. Since it was mentioned earlier, I also mentioned we had got a little bit more information from the county on the recycle contract. So that contract is with the county on behalf of the cities. And it was a little bit confusing, I think, for everyone in the presentation that was given at the last council meeting. So as far as staff has followed up with them and currently understands, the existing contract will be extended for 1 year. The county has the option or the ability to modify the days of service, which is what they originally were proposing, going from every week to every other week. So they're intending to switch from every week to every other week under this 1 year extension. The 1 year extension also allows us to opt out at the end or during that 1 year and negotiate our own contract with Waste Connections. And at that time, that's when we could consider mandatory service and the other things that were talked about. So it was a little confusing. It sounded like that could all happen at once. Follow-up conversations have made it clear that that's a sort of a separate future action that we could take if we so choose. So
Let me understand what you just said. So you're telling us that the county can override this, yet no one said this in 2 meetings that we had with the people from Waste Management, and that they're going to go ahead and enforce it to go to every other week. Yet we sat here talking to the heads of these guys and they told us differently. I'm not just concerned, but I'm confused, and that's a little upsetting at that point.
We can forward the council the email that we got back from county staff that clarified, but we had the same sort of questions and lack of understanding coming out of the presentation. So when we followed up, they cited a section in the contract that says that, it's the county that has this contract on behalf of the city's Battleground Center, Yakult. Can't remember if there's any others. And the county has the ability to modify that, the service interval.
Okay.
And they said that they intend to do that.
So you also said now it's going to be extended for a full year and that we're locked into that for a full year. Is there anything that says that we can't go out and find service on our own during this year before the year's up and just cancel out of it?
I don't believe so. I believe that it's a year extension, but it has an opt-out clause so that if we have that ability to go negotiate our own contract with Waste Connections or theoretically any other waste hauling provider that we would choose to do. But that would be a separate city and city staff action.
Yeah.
I think something that we're missing is actually seeing what this contract says.
We'll send that out to the council along with the email that we received.
That would be helpful. The explanations have been confusing at best, especially when they come in and talk.
Twice.
And yes, twice. And then I remember years ago when they first began the recycling program within the county. If I remember right, when they spoke of the mandatory recycling, it was you were mandated to have a recycling if you had a garbage contract. But so I guess my question is do people still have the ability not to get garbage service?
Currently they do.
Right.
But at least and again, I think we need to have a little bit more further conversations with Waste Connection, but what we've been understanding sort of from Waste Connections through the county is that if we were to make mandatory garbage and recycling service for everyone, then that sort of guarantee of a customer base lowers the cost of service for everyone. So basically right now it's not mandatory garbage or recycling. That has a higher fee than if we were to say, we're changing our code so that, garbage service is mandatory. And I know, cities like Battleground has been, talking about this for years. When I was there 15 years ago, they were talking about it and not wanting, there was a desire from the council not to have mandatory service because some people like to, self-haul or whatever.
Right.
But for whatever reason, Waste Connections then, charges a higher rate because it's not mandatory.
Do you know the percentage that we have that opt out? Is it just in city? No, it's obviously the whole, never mind. That's a silly question. But is there a percentage that we know of people
We
that
could
opt
get
out?
some statistics
I mean,
for take rate and
that's
within
kind
the
of
city
putting,
limits.
they're basically creating complete control. It's like Comcast coming in and saying, you have to take our internet. If you don't use it, we're going to, it's still going to be running through your house and you can choose not to use it, but we're still charging you for it, so.
It is a slippery slope though, because not everyone is as responsible as some people that are here tonight.
That is true. Yeah, and that's the potential, downside of non-mandatory services. If people aren't responsible and they're, stockpiling waste,
Hoarding,
then
yeah.
you can have,
Animal issues
and rodent
yeah.
issues and the like. So something that warrants further discussion and consideration, but that would be able to take place as we're considering sort of our next steps.
Just a little bit of commentary as well, as we don't have very many transfer stations in the system. And so all those self-haul trips, if you've been down to like the Orchards area where there's a transfer station, backs way up on 503, creates traffic safety issue because it is kind of a high speed facility through there. And so with the traffic queues backing up onto 503, there are some high speed rear end crashes that occur in that area. So trying to get more towards mandatory service to reduce the number of trips going into those transfer stations as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, it is.
I have a question for Councilmember Strobehn.
Yeah.
So from your statement, you seemed a little surprised about the every other week. Is that correct? Am I gathering that right?
I'm more surprised that we didn't know, or they didn't know, that the contract with the county superseded everything. So they kept coming in telling us. And so we sat here for a good half hour or 20 minutes discussing this for absolutely no reason. I don't know about you, but my time's valuable. And I'm not trying to sound like a jerk up here, but I don't want to sit here and waste time. There's a lot of other things that we can be giving our attention to rather than something we have zero control over.
I mean, because they said bigger cans every 2 weeks, right? And basically you got to deal with that or
And that's,
go
yeah,
with.
and that's what it sounds like
Yeah.
is the choice.
And
until
there's
we-
no
until
rate
we
increase with that, right? Again, sorry, I missed last meeting, so I'm just kind of
Yes,
asking
so
a
they-
no actual
the-
question. There's no rate increase, it's just every 2 weeks and you get a bigger can. And then people can choose to still not,
And you can get a
opt-in.
they said you could get a second larger can for no charge as well.
and then, but not everybody doesn't have to participate, right? That with that plan?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that just seems,
And
at
the
least for the interim until, we have a year or something, right? You
Yes,
said, and then we
that's
have to
correct.
then decide to,
If we decide that works, then we can continue with that. If we decide we want to do something else, or
I see.
then we
Okay.
can do that as
yeah.
The larger cans will be rolled out by September.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Yeah, when all this is supposed to start. Yeah, okay.
I know I think it's waste control up in Cowlitz County. They're already servicing part of Clark County, northern Clark County. That might be something that we want to look into going forward, if that's
That's a good
something that
idea.
could maybe accommodate us better than what is going on here.
That's a good idea.
Good thought.
Well, yeah, whatever the answer is going to be, it'll be a lot easier to swallow if we just know clearly what the contract is going to say.
Yeah.
And then if we find out that it's cost prohibitive to create our own contract, which is certainly possible, but yeah, it just doesn't seem right to have these constant changes to what may or may not occur. If we don't have any choice, then let's just say that and we'll find out if we can do something different.
Yeah.
Wait, I haven't, sorry.
Go
Do you
ahead.
have more to say to that?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, but yeah, I agree and apologize for the confusion that last presentation created.
It wasn't your fault though, Brian.
Yeah, but
I mean, honestly, it wasn't you or anybody at the city. That's the waste management in the county. Either A, not communicating, and they know that they were out visiting all these cities in different meetings. So it's not on you guys, it's on those two entities.
The other thing I just realized, you can choose to rent your garbage can or you can choose to buy your own, right? But the recycling can, you have to rent, right? So are they gonna give everybody huge garbage cans?
Garbage is going to stay the same.
yeah, so
Garbage stays the same, so you get one can every 2 weeks. So if you
no,
put,
so garbage will continue on a weekly basis.
oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
this
was
is only
like,
For now.
affecting recycling. And
okay,
yeah, and
I
that's
see.
the
Okay,
whole garbage
that makes more
can
sense.
versus cart thing is confusing too. I think eventually we may get to the point where they roll out those rollout carts,
Right.
which they provide rather than you providing your own garbage can. But
Right.
that involves different trucks but they're trying to
Yeah.
make that move as
Yeah.
well. But that'll
Yeah.
be a separate confusing conversation.
Well, you can actually buy a garbage can with wheels as long as the lid clicks down.
Yeah.
So.
I know because I bought one of the other.
Yeah,
nicer
I
ones, and
have,
then they-
yeah. Once I figured that out, because I tried to buy, and then I actually bought the flip lid, but I didn't know, and then they didn't, and I was like, oh, wait, so, yeah, so you can still get away with it, but that makes more sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. That's it.
Thank you, Brian. All right. That takes us to ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. And Ms. Maria Swinger-Inskeep will present ordinance 2022-07.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Cerveny and council members. Tonight, we're considering ordinance 2022-07, which is establishing the requirement for a public official bond. So RCW 35A.12.080 requires that any person holding the position of city clerk, treasurer, or chief of police is required to file an official bond in an amount set by ordinance. The La Center Municipal Code does not currently require a bond and does not state a bond amount. The recommendation would be to add a new chapter to the code, which would be 2.10.050. In addition, the bond amount would be set at no less than $50,000, which is standard for other cities. The budget impact would be The cost to the city, $275 for 1 year and $573 for a 3-year bond. Department funds will cover this expense, and the recommended motion is on the screen. Are there any questions?
Is this a new RCW?
It's not. It's just something that we had not done. And so the chief and I are actually bonded. We do not have the ordinance to reference it. So.
Any additional questions? So at this time,
So, sorry, so this is just for personal protection for these positions?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's already done. You said
We have done
We just
it.
haven't had.
Yeah, we've done it at $50,000. If you guys don't agree to that, then we can increase it, but that's standard.
Is there any specification about a temporary or an interim police chief?
There is no specification.
Okay.
No.
Attorney, do you have anything to weigh in on this?
You can just talk. Nothing. This is standard throughout all of the cities that I have represented to have that be for certain positions. The $50,000 seems consistent with everything that I have seen, and it would you do need to have it in your code so that you can require it at the time that you have the position. And it would be my understanding it would be anybody who holds that position. So I believe it would apply to an interim in that position as well as a permanent.
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah. Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing at 19:12 in our official time. I love that clock.
Is there anybody in person who would like to make a comment?
I would. I mean, I don't see it on the agenda.
Was that your comment, or did you have additional?
No, let me think about what you just said. So I'm sorry, I didn't know, and that's, hey, live and learn.
That's okay.
You know, I'm just going to question.
Can you please come to the mic? Thanks.
You know, until you have knowledge about what questions to ask, you think everything's going just fine. So I'm thinking that anything we do is somehow quietly going along with the agenda that Vancouver's going by and a lot of other cities in the state. What I'd really like to do is have somebody from the council member that went to that AWC meeting give about a 5-minute synopsis of what happened, because I think we the people should know, okay?
That has nothing to do with this particular issue. So.
Okay, well, I'm just, like I said, I would apply anything that we do as a local government to if it's, am I off now? I have 3 minutes?
No.
You're still there.
Oh, sorry. So I would apply anything to the knowledge that there is a one world order takeover. I know it sounds like it's bizarre, but it's really out there and you can see it as it's happening. So anything that we do, I really want to try to check and dig in better. And I'm asking actually the citizens of La Center to look into things that we do. Thank you for your service. I hope that when you say you're going to do things for good, it's for good and not for evil. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public hearing comments from those calling in? Please press *6 to unmute yourselves to speak. No one there. So clerk, are there any additional public hearing comments to be read into the minutes?
No comments.
Okay. I would like to now close the public hearing, 19:15. Any additional comments from the council?
No, Mayor Pro Tem, I would move to approve ordinance 2022-07, establishing the requirement for a public official bond in the amount of no less than $50,000.
Second.
Any other comments? We kind of skipped over the comment section, but thank you for the motions. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2022-07 bond requirement. And clerk, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Kasberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Boyle,
Yes.
Councilmember Strobehn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cerveny.
Yes. I would like to comment or somewhat follow up. Bonding is fairly common. I mean, even in businesses and nonprofit organizations and other entities, it's a protection and insurance coverage, just like we do for our vehicles and everything else. So it's not out of the norm for a community that's grown to our size to step into having the level of coverage that we need. So I
Not
hope
only that, Mayor
helps.
Pro Tem, it's also a RCW law, so it needed to be enacted.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
There was my comment.
Good. See, I knew you'd have one. We have no other items to come before us, so can I get a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to adjourn today's meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for coming.